Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. I'm going to interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you guys need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. I just released a midweek update today. So it is up out there if you guys want to view it. And I share my opinions on individual companies, what I'm buying, and where, what sectors I'm looking at this time, given where we're at in the cycle. So let's dive in here, and I'll let you guys know what my opinions are. So we've got the dollar here. The dollar had a pretty sharp reversal today after Powell's comments. They're not Rates are unchanged at this time, and we see a strong sell-off in yields and the dollar. That is going to potentially be rocket fuel for precious metals. Precious metals, baby. We're going to start this launch, I think. So we had a weaker dollar, and that does look like it could potentially be a reversal candlestick, and we could head lower here in the DXY. The 2-year yield. You can see the volatility today and how it's sold off. Now let's see if we get follow through with the dollar in yields to the downside. So my guess is sideways to slightly lower is the direction of perhaps the 2-year yield. But this isn't it's going to be a very complicated path going forward, I think. The reason I say that is I think oil is going to go higher. I know oil was down today, but that's not what the positioning says in a lot of the ETFs. If oil starts going higher, that could bring the 2-year yield back up. Again, we'll have to wait and see this. 10-year yield, slightly lower, but it's hanging in there right at support resistance. Not a huge sell-off today in the 10-year. And the 30-year is up 0.32%. So we had the short end of the curve come down a little bit. We have the long end of the curve basically being anchored where it's at today, where it's at. So this still can very easily go up on the long end of the curve, with the short end being a little bit questionable. TYX TNX ratio rocketing higher today. That is jet fuel for precious metals. If this curve uninverts, the 2-year dropping faster than the longer end, and or what I've got here is the 30-year and the 10-year. This starts to move on up. We're going to see gold really take off, and potentially silver too. Again, like I said before, these are good locations to be buying physical metals in. That is what I've come up when I look at all of history. This is a good spot to be looking in this financialized business cycle economy. Looking at bond prices, the 20-year relatively flat, just moving sideways, right at support resistance. And then the 2 and 10, we did see this really start to accelerate to the potential downside, where we could see the 2-year start to drop and the long end of the curve stay more stable. That will be rocket fuel for precious metals. So looking at precious metals, gold, like I said, rocket fuel, and this is a continuation consolidation pattern that we've broken to the upside. We could see another leg higher in gold here right now. So that's looking really good to continue its way on up. Now, silver, guys. Oh my goodness. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Big bullish engulfing candlesticks all through here. Small selling pressure. We ripped through the trend line. There's the trend line. Look at the bullish monthly candlestick we're getting. We close this month out strong. I think we're going here. We're gonna try to rip here, guys. If we try to rip here, silver moves fast. It moves in large amounts very quickly. You need to be prepared for a potential move in silver to the upside, in my opinion. And I will share my opinions on the website. And we've already been buying this stuff, so it doesn't really matter for most of you. But we'll talk about individual companies this weekend. We'll get some plans together, and I'll tell you which ones have the big leverage and which ones I think are a little bit safer bet. But this could be the beginning of a launch. Gold definitely looks good. Silver looking very good, breaking this trend line. This will activate the big cup and handle pattern that we've been wanting the activation from. And I think this will engage and break the yearly. So here's the 12-month yearly cup and handle pattern. Let me get some of this stuff off here real quick, guys, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The yearly close isn't in this area here, it's down here. So if we start to clear the $30, $31 level, that's going to engage the big boy pattern here. The big boy pattern, if I were to put a price projection on logarithmic, this is going to be crazy. So there's your handle there. I'm getting a $271 price projection for silver. You may think that's crazy. You may think I'm crazy. But all I'm going to say is if we do get there, what I'm going to say is it is definitely going to be crazy for some of these small junior mining companies. They're going to go ballistic, goose. Time to go ballistic, goose. So yeah, it looks great. Platinum also looking like it's trying to put in a short-term bottom. Looks really good. We saw some good movements in some of the mining companies there. Palladium also looking like it's putting in a bottom, touching here and ready to move on up. So that looks also very good. And that's on top of a very big basing pattern, a breakout and a retest. And you know what I do on retests. I buy them. We've got XAU to gold ratio. The gold and silver mining company is just absolutely launching. And this looks very good. It's a bullish engulfing, looking like it wants to move higher. We are still in this downtrend line. We haven't broken that yet. But guys, this is a very cheap location here. This is getting me anxious. Gets me anxious because we've got gold moving to the upside. That looks good to continue further, and that is at all-time highs. We've got silver breaking its downtrend line with a bullish engulfing and a pretty good move. And then we've got the mining companies at basically the cheapest level that they've ever been at against gold. What a great opportunity here to create potentially generational wealth if this plays out where it breaks to the upside here. Absolutely great. CRB index, we were down a little bit today. I know crude oil was down a little bit, but still looks good to continue its move higher. Is this the beginning of wave 3? What does that mean? Wave 3 is this big move here. This is the last bull market, which is this bull market overlaid over the new one. And I think that this is wave 1. We've got through wave 2, and this could be wave 3. If the last bull market continues, where we go to 700. Then the 5th wave will bring us up to 1,000 up here. A lot of people don't look at the big picture view. They're too zoomed in on the short term, which I think is a huge mistake here. Huge mistake. I think that whatever's coming is probably going to be very inflationary, and we're going to move leaps and bounds higher over the next decade. CRB index divided by the S&P, we did underperform today, but we did break out of my awesome little quickly drawn in. I'll throw something a little bit more something on the lines of that. Maybe we're going to do a retest here before heading higher. But I think eventually the CRB index is going to outperform the S&P 500. GDX ripping today up 4.13%. Big bullish engulfing. That makes me bullish. Moving higher. GDXJ bullish engulfing, moving higher. We're right at that resistance line too that we are about to break with a gigantic monthly bullish engulfing. I'm getting pretty bullish here, guys. And SILJ breaking out too of its trend with a big bullish engulfing on the daily candlestick here. Looks very good. Crude oil down 1.5%. We do have a wick at the bottom. Guys, it almost makes me think that they pushed oil lower for this report. Very weird. We are running deficits. We've been drawing down inventory. The fair value is probably somewhere up here right now in terms of inventory levels. I don't think the inventory is going to be coming back over the summertime. So I think we're going to continue to draw down inventory. I think we're going higher. I think we're going higher. And how high are we going to go? I can throw another resistance line up here. That's what I'm looking at. We break through this rough resistance area through here at about 100, 110. That's going to launch us into something much, much higher. Am I claiming that that's going to happen and occur immediately? I don't know. We could come up and tap it and come back down like this and have a little bit of a pullback in the market, and this could spark a potential recession, which then means that Powell's going to lower rates. We could get a pullback. It's very possible, and we get the Batman pattern. We pull back. That is the end of wave 2, whenever, late 24, 25, and then we launch like we've never seen before in anyone's life. That could be the case. I don't know if it is, but we'll see. We'll continue to monitor it. TTF nat gas, we were down 5% today, right at resistance support. I do think that this is a breakout and a retest. And I do think that we're going to go much higher out in the future. Natural gas in America also lower at 2.52%. This is going to take some time. It's not going to be quick. We're going to have to base out for probably 6 months or so, is my guess. We're going to have to draw down inventory. We have to cut back production. And then when that is all kind of balanced out in inventory, it highly depends on weather. If we're doing electric power burn in the summer and how cold it is in the winter, but this is going to be ultra volatile to both the downside and to the upside. I think that we can get to $10 a million cubic foot faster than what most people can imagine if those conditions line up properly. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, looking absolutely fantastic. Now, if oil was going to move lower, then why the heck are people positioning in the oil equities? This to me looks like it's ready to break to the upside of this big inverted head and shoulders pattern. We're right there. It looks absolutely fantastic. OIH also looking pretty good. We have a little bit of a small down day, but we've got momentum to the upside, and it's looking good. If oil does break higher, I expect we could see oil do some crazy stuff. Very possible, and these could do some crazy stuff with it. What's crazy stuff? $150 a barrel stuff if something were to occur. I don't know what that something is. Otherwise, I think that we go up during the summer, and if nothing eventful occurs, maybe we hit $100, $110 or something. Or 95, whatever it is. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we're up 2.5%. It actually looks really good for a continued move higher. We want to break out of this resistance channel, which I think is doable here, and we can all get uber bullish again. URA also looking pretty strong today with this candlestick. It is at least changing my opinion slowly, and if we continue to see maybe small selling pressure day with a big up candlestick, I will be in the bullish camp again in the short term. Longer term, yeah, I'm in the bull camp. Don't worry. URANUM also getting a pretty strong candlestick today. It's definitely swaying my opinion, and we'll have to see what we get. Maybe a small bloody nose tomorrow, and then a continuation up. And then URNJ up 6.15%, looking really good. Let's hope the momentum can continue. And we do have a lot of support underneath us, all this buying and selling pressure. TAN also up, likes the short end of the curve dropping, and we're up higher in TAN. It looks good. Looks like it's trying to bottom. Copper also up a little bit, 0.33%. We've broken out of the pattern, and I expect this to continue with time. It looks good. COPX, people are positioning in the copper miners, and you can see that positioning here. It is definitely under fire, and we've got a lot of resistance still above. That resistance is going across here, basically. I'll draw it like this. We've got some resistance that we've basically broken out, and I think we're probably going to run. Lithium also looking quite good today, up 2%. This does, to me, look like we're breaking this little pattern here, and we could head higher. So that looks good. Rare earth metals are breaking that same pattern. That looks good. Potentially heading higher. The S&P 500 surprisingly continues to move on up, along with the NASDAQ moving on up. It looks pretty solid here, and we could see further upside in both of these. So looking good. KRE looking good. Rates steady, big up day today. Hopefully the momentum continues. Emerging markets are up today. Lots of money flowing into stocks. XHB also ripping it up 1.8%. Home builders continue moving on higher. We've got MOO also breaking out of its downtrend line. Looking very, very good. There it is, breaking to the upside, and I do expect this to work its way on up. A breakout and a retest. I would be buying the retest. I've got a ton of different companies, guys, fertilizer companies and all sorts of stuff that look absolutely fantastic right now going on. Ask me during the question and answer session what those companies are, and I can help you navigate these markets with that. Iron ore also up a little bit, and it looks like it's trying to put in a bottom here. We'll see if it can do that. We've got nickel down 1.5%, but again, guys, I think this is bottoming. Yes, it can move around a little bit, but it's putting in a bottom, and I'd be looking for potential companies down here. Aluminum up 0.2%, and some of the aluminum companies were flying today. I do have exposure to aluminum, and I do think this is going to grind its way on up. Baltic Dry Index down a little bit, but I still think that this is going to work its way on up slowly with copper going up, and I'll just say all of the coal that needs to be shipped in the future, a lot of the grains and fertilizers and all that stuff, I think we're going to do all right with the pricing moving on up here. Newcastle coal down a little bit. We're bottoming here. Be patient. It's going to be tracking natural gas as well. There's going to be some coal switching to natural gas with natural gas prices where we're at. When that starts to come back, I think later 2024, early 2025 with the LNG takeaway capacity, I think coal is going to be a good bet somewhere around here. And we're not, remember, markets are forward looking. They may look ahead 12, 18 months, and that's when people start positioning. And I do think that's going to be very soon in a lot of coal companies, natural gas companies, et cetera, et cetera. BTC also ripping higher, surprisingly. It reversed out of this quite well, and it looks like we could be trying to put in a bottom here. Ethereum also looking like it's trying to reverse this momentum. The momentum is still there, don't get me wrong, and we could trade sideways a little bit before turning around. Very possible. But it looks like it's trying to turn that momentum around here in the short term. Surprisingly, SMCI is still down 1.6%, even though everybody was buying stocks kind of gangbusters. Also, surprisingly, NVIDIA was up only 1%. Are we coming to a top here? I don't know. We'll continue to monitor it. It very well could go higher. But I would be looking at the sectors that went up a lot today. And there are a few sectors that do stand out, in my opinion, that went up quite a bit today. And we went over them already in the before. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. We still have the discount coupon code LEAP, 50% off the first month to try it. Goes to regular pricing after, or you can get a larger discount on the yearly membership. We have a training coming up I'm going to talk about portfolio position sizing, risk, how I view all of that myself, in my opinions, and how I set up maybe $100,000 portfolio and what I would overweight and what I would not overweight. The weighting of a portfolio is incredibly crucial to the success of the portfolio. Now, I'm not a one, I don't think that everyone should have the same portfolio. I don't think everyone should have the same mix in their portfolio. Obviously, the portfolio is an extension of what you know, or what I know, or what other people know. I'm not in tech because I don't like tech companies necessarily, especially at this time. I'm in commodities because decades can occur in years. The returns. I've seen some of the fastest returns that I've ever seen in any of the markets that just dwarf anything in tech almost. Not everything in tech, but almost anything. We're talking 10, 20, 30 times your money in a few years is possible. Now, I'm not stating that that is the companies we want to go after necessarily in overweight. You have to look at risk reward. You have to look at what are the differences between those rewards and how much risk am I taking on to get those extra possible returns? What's the probability of that occurring, et cetera, et cetera. But it is possible, and I've seen some crazy stuff, and I've experienced crazy stuff. And if you go back and look at some of my early 2020 videos of SM Energy, you can see that we are up. What is it at? Now I'm curious to see where it's at. SM finished today at $48 in our entry point. My entry point was $1.50. And that was at 2020. So those returns are possible, and I think that we have similar setups in some of these sectors that are really blown out. So I'm looking in those sectors, I'm sifting through to see what's in there, and I'll be taking. I have taken positions in them. You guys, obviously, if you're part of the website, you know. So that's what I've got. And question and answer session coming up on Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, guys. That's all I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.